Hello, my name is Dr. Kathleen Cooney, and it is my pleasure to present a brief session on alkaline hydrolysis, understanding this safer emerging aftercare option. And this is in celebration of our Earth Day event 2020. Myself, I just want you to know that I reside in Loveland, Colorado, and here you see an image of my euthanasia and end-of-life veterinary comfort center on my farm, which sits on 35 acres in East Loveland. And very honored to say that alkaline hydrolysis, we chose it because it's very gentle for the environment. It's a more sustainable option to traditional flame cremation. And the effluent or the liquid that is generated from this process, we give back to the earth directly on the application of our farm. So just absolutely love this technology and wanted to share a bit about what that looks like with you here today. So our agenda, we're going to review the process of alkaline hydrolysis, the benefits, to our planet and the future and what that looks like, so we know what to expect in the future of this technology and where we go from here. So we know that all creatures will eventually pass on, and within the human world and with the veterinary world, it is just simply a given that something will need to be chosen for the pet's aftercare, okay, or for the human's aftercare. Traditionally, we're talking about burial, whether or not it's in a cemetery, or for animals, we could be talking about home burial as well. But traditionally, we've had flame cremation, and now we have this new alternative that's been gaining popularity for the last, probably 20 years or so, within alkaline hydrolysis. So birth to earth, as we say, and it's lovely that when it is time for the end of life to occur, that we are protecting our planet, that we're building a legacy of love and life, and not have something detrimental happen to the planet, because there's, of course, millions and millions of loved ones that die every single year. A little bit of history on alkaline hydrolysis. It's definitely over 150 years in the making, started back in the 1800s in England, talking about whether or not there was a way to create more rich nitrogen sources from the degradation of a body. Turned out back then not to be that productive. However, back in the 1990s, in the last century, some researchers were working on a safe way to handle laboratory animals, especially those that were a bit toxic with radioactive isotopes, very unfortunate, but they needed a more sustainable way to handle these bodies. So these researchers, Kay and Weber, were the ones that really started to move alkaline hydrolysis into its modern way that we look at it now. So as you can see, moving all the way to the right, it's really starting to gain more popularity. There are over 150 pet units in the US right now, and about 50 human units. And of course, that's not including all of the units that are around the world, right? So again, trying to find a more sustainable way to protect the planet, to reduce these bodies down into their elemental forms and give back to the environment in some way. So there are 5 major components to make this happen. There are salts and time, and mixing or movement of water around the body to reduce away all that soft tissue, heat in the form of hot water or warm water, and then water itself. These symbols for these compounds that you see on the left is potassium hydroxide and on the right is sodium hydroxide. These tend to be the major salt components or chemical components that we're using in this science to reduce, again, all that soft tissue away. But you cannot do it with just the salts. You cannot do it with just heat or just water. It has to be a marriage or blend of all of these components. And how fast this degradation or reduction process happened depends on whether or not there's pressure inside of the unit or not. So a high pressure unit can have water that's much hotter, above boiling, even though the pressure will not allow boiling to happen. Or we have low pressure systems, which means that it might take a bit longer for the process to complete. So water-based cremation or alkaline hydrolysis for me takes about 20 hours to reduce a pet's body down to its bone form. I'd like to show you a video now, and hopefully there's no glitches in it, but I do hope that it plays well.
With the difficult choice about aftercare for a beloved companion. In the past, your choices were limited to either burial or cremation. Now there's a better option: alkaline hydrolysis, referred to in practice by several names such as aquamation, is the gentle, more responsible alternative that allows you to honor the loss of your companion without harming the environment. Hydrolysis is a simple process that is similar to Mother Nature's own. First, any inorganic items are placed aside, and the deceased is sometimes placed into a biodegradable bag before being laid into a stainless steel cradle. The cradle is lowered into the hydrolysis bath, where the solution gently circulates, reducing the deceased to bone. Much slower than high-temperature flame-based cremation. This happens without harmful greenhouse gas emissions. In fact, hydrolysis produces no significant gaseous emissions, making this the ideal choice, even when compared to burial, which produces methane. Following hydrolysis, the family has the option to receive back an urn containing the same bone remains they would from flame-based cremation. However, because hydrolysis doesn't burn off some of the bone, they actually receive back more of only their beloved pet's remains, on average a 20% increase. Simply, this is the most environmentally responsible choice for aftercare, and gives you back more of your pet's remains than any other aftercare option. Cherish the memory of your loved one while you protect the environment we all share. Hydrolysis provides you with the best aftercare option, and it's available here and now.
All right, I'll end that right there, and hopefully that played well for you. So you got a chance to see what my system looks like. It's called a PET 400, and that's very traditional around the United States. So the ash that comes out is very fine. It's like baby powder. And if you've ever seen flame ash, it is a little bit more gravelly in appearance. It's generally harder. But because the bones are so soft after alkaline hydrolysis, it is, you can just kind of break them right in your hands. They're that soft. So it doesn't take much to reduce them down to the powder. And then we either return that to the families or we spread it here on our farm. And because it is so fine, it mixes back with the soil much better, much easier. So again, quick summary of the process. We need their 5 key ingredients: water, salts, mixing, time, and heat. After the body is completely reduced, again, whether or not this is with humans or pets, either if it's a fast process or a slower process, the bone will be wet. It does have to be dried. Then we do have to process that bone into ash, and then we return it to our families if that is what they request. That is, of course, up to pet owners whether or not they want the ashes returned to them. Certainly in the human world, ashes are always returned to loved ones. So I wanted to give you a quick update on the prevalence worldwide. This is acceptable for pets everywhere right now but Europe. In Europe, pets have a different classification. They're closer to livestock. And there are systems in various countries all over the world. In fact, you've heard me use the term aquamation. Aquamation was actually coined in Australia, very much gaining popularity. And the picture that you see right here is a very large unit called a bioliquidator. These are perfect for livestock, large poultry operations, or fisheries, I should say, anywhere where they need to go ahead and dispose of a larger volume of animals. What's really interesting as well about this unit is this can be placed on a flatbed truck and actually brought to a farm where they can reduce the animals' bodies down, and then they can just go ahead and spread the effluent, the liquid that's produced, which is a protein-based kind of biostimulant. They can give that right back to the earth and have it benefit the flora there. Really, really interesting machine. This is an example of a human unit from a company called BioResponse. And you can see that there's a difference here that this shows in the timing of this process. So at the very top, if you've got a 200 degree Fahrenheit zero pressure operation, which is similar to mine, it can take anywhere from 9 to 12 hours. However, if you have a high pressure system, an entire human can be reduced down in about 2 to 3 hours. So multiple humans can be worked with in the same day. They do not make high pressure units for pets. It is not cost effective. Here is an image of another human unit. This process is actually called resomation. That was trademarked in England. But they do make these systems, and they do sell them, I believe, all over the world. So a human is placed inside. After about 2 to 3 hours, the body is completely reduced down to the skeleton, and then the liquid be typically just discharged into wastewater, unless they have a system in place where they can spread it on land as well. So successes so far with alkaline hydrolysis around the world, again, very widely accepted so far for humans and pets. It's growing, right? It's a new technology. It's changing and evolving, and we're just building awareness right now that it's even available. But for those places that have these type of systems in operation, they have so far been pretty widely accepted. The effluent, again, is considered like a protein-based biostimulant. It's really good to feed the bacteria and stimulate plant growth, and that is proving very, very good for the soil. In fact, the image you can see here is in a property in Indiana where some of the effluent accidentally spread, kind of a drip along the yard, and you can see just how happy the grass is. I myself bale native grasses here on my farm, and we produced almost 4 times as many bales as our neighbors' same size land and same similar type of grass, I should say. These systems can be installed in very small spaces, which is good. Again, very low emissions and footprint for the earth. And so they can be placed in strip malls and a lot of other places where traditional flame retorts or crematories cannot go. And then the cost is very similar or even less than flame cremation. So some quick benefits and why we love this technology. It is carcinogen free, so the bones are returned to families without any sort of pollutant or carcinogen a part of it, right? There's no charring, no burning there. It is 1/10 the carbon footprint. There are 0 harmful greenhouse gas emissions and very low energy consumption and very low water consumption. My water bill does not change at all through any part of the year until I'm actually irrigating part of my farm, right? So it has nothing, there is very little water consumption with these machines. So that's a good thing. Then ashes are ready to be returned to the soil, and the effluent, again, this liquid that we generate from this process, very good and beneficial for agriculture and horticulture. So the future right now is to try to reduce, if possible, the amount of flame cremation that's out there, both on the human side and on the pet side, as we know that flame cremation has a very high fuel consumption and a much larger carbon footprint. So it's only a matter of time before we reach a tipping point where anyone who wants to start a end of life, facility to offer a cremation will probably reach for water-based cremation first, or at least have both options available until they find that flame cremation is no longer economically viable, just doesn't make sense. But I think the bigger thing for the future right now is trying to find a way to harness this effluent as a sustainable product for both agriculture and horticulture. And we're looking very closely at all the components, looking at the organic matter, the amino acids, the sugars, the peptides, everything that is in this effluent, and find the right crop to go ahead and apply this to. Please also know that the effluent has no DNA, no RNA, no chemicals, no toxins in there whatsoever. There's no bacteria. It's a completely sterile product, which makes it very kind of enticing or ideal for what we're thinking about in the future. So in summary, you've heard me use a lot of different names referring to this. It is foremost alkaline hydrolysis, but also we refer to it as aquamation, biocremation, green cremation, even flameless cremation. It is very much proven gentler on the environment. Nobody is in disagreement about that, which is good. And there is growing popularity for this around the world. So I thank you very much for joining me. And if you do have any questions, this is where you can reach me. Here is our phone number and our email. And with that, I thank you for your dedication to our Mother Earth and taking care of our planet for future generations. All of us can enjoy it for generations to come. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.